Alright guys, before today's episode, just a quick reminder that we are on Patreon for as little as £3 a month. You can sign up and get access to an extra episode every 2 weeks, plus bonus content from all our previous live shows, a full show from the pavilion, including behind the scenes footage, and first dibs on upcoming live show tickets, both for stand-up and actual Some Laugh live shows.
Yes, we're going to be doing the Fringe, all three of us, aren't we?
Yes.
We're going to be I'm only doing 3 dates of last year's show and 3 dates of a new work in progress
Tickets
show.
are scarce. There's not many chances to
Yes.
see the master at work.
Yes,
But
the master at work in progress.
yes, that's very, very apt. Yes, but me and Stuart are doing the full run, and tickets are available now. And Some Laugh Live is back at the Fringe.
Woo!
We are doing another late night show at, I believe it's 11:20 at Monkey Barrel.
Prime time spot that everyone wants.
Yes, well, but do you know what? It's a late night fun festival. You know, everyone's steaming. We had Hawaiian blowjobs on tap last year.
That's right. It was fun last year.
It was great fun, as people that were there or have seen it on the Patreon will testify to it, and we'll be back with some great guests, etc. We'll hopefully see you guys there. Aside from all that, enjoy today's episode.
Enjoy.
Welcome to the Some Laugh podcast.
It could be like, oh, that was Some Laugh, or there was just some laughs.
Well, no promising all laugh.
No, there's going to be some.
It's Some Laugh. Do you know the first time I met you, Brennan, right, was a gig in Hartlepool, I believe.
All right.
For Neil Jolly, a Hilarity Bites one, right?
Oh, it's a real good one.
Well, but here's the thing. Before you turned up, somebody was showing us on Facebook, you had just done something for Top Gear.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man, this guy, he's on his way, he's already getting on his opportunity.
And here I am.
The fresh face, he's going to be presenting everything going, and, you know, he's on this trajectory. I just remember thinking, like, oh my God, you know, like, it was so clearly you were that guy.
Yeah, it was I just got a phone call. This is how long ago it was. Someone and just was like, do you want to come and do a test drive with a Stig? I was like, what? And they were like, do you want to come on? And it's for like I did a thing for Lad Bible.
It was Lad Bible, that was right, yeah.
And then so I basically got to like wind up the Stig, and then he took me around in this daft car, which went from like 0 to 60 in fuck all seconds.
Wow.
And I was genuine. I couldn't even hold my head up because it was like a convertible car. Do you know when you like see F1 drivers and they got the neck brace on? I was like, I'm going to throw up on this.
Yeah.
And then they posted it, and it went like, because it was Lad Bible, it went massive.
Yeah.
But everyone was so horrible.
I bet you.
Everyone was so horrible that Top Gear had a spin-off show, and they went, do you want to come on the show? And I didn't realise, and then they made me read out all the horrible tweets. It was things like, what were they saying? They were saying like, I bet this lad can eat an apple through a letterbox. He's going like, you're not a man. Hand your driving license back in. I'm like, I'm a passenger.
Oh my God.
Just lads losing the shit because they just wanted to sniff the Stig.
Yeah.
And then, only a couple of weeks ago, one of my best mates, he's got a new girlfriend, and he messaged me and he goes, did you do a thing with a Stig years ago? And I went, yeah. And he goes, my girlfriend's dad's the Stig. And I was like, no. And his girlfriend's dad is a Stig.
Did you see him with his helmet off?
No, they bundle him away like he's
Really?
like he's a Kardashian.
Oh. But it's your mate's girlfriend's dad?
Yeah.
Wow.
The best bit of that though was, as well as doing that, I got to interview Chris Evans and Matt LeBlanc.
Aye, because is that when they just started?
It was all the promo for all of that.
Yeah.
Matt LeBlanc, the soundest guy, and I did it as if like I didn't quite know who he was. So I was asking him questions, things like, if you could be like a character in Friends, who do you think you'd be? And he was so sound.
What did they say?
I think he said Gunther. I was like, I don't know who that is. He was just dead sound.
Yeah.
And then Chris Evans, the worst.
Really?
That's why those interviews didn't go out, because of Chris Evans.
What Chris Evans? There's 2 Chris Evans.
Well, that's how I played the thing. So I had a notepad and I was asking him questions about Captain America, and he was not finding it funny whatsoever.
That's great.
Oh, so it was Chris Evans, the radio presenter.
Aye, the guy that was hosting Top Gear. That
No, I don't watch Top Gear.
TFI and all that shit, whatever it was called.
Yeah, don't forget your toothbrush, all of that.
Aye, the ginger cunt.
The ginger cunt.
Yeah.
Oh, the ginger cunt.
And I can see him, and he's just getting riled up because then I look really young, and he's just thinking, "Who's this prick?"
Yeah.
Like he was riding around the set on a Segway, so you get
Was
the vibe.
he?
Yeah. Do you know, like he was doing security at a shopping centre? He's just like going around. It was so bad.
Chris Evans mall cop.
And then I had do you know where you've written a question or like a bit, and you go, "This is going to work.
This is gonna be good,
It's
aye.
So I said to him, I was like, "Oh, you've been out with loads of celebrities," and I just saw him like shifting his chair to be like, "Don't you dare!" And I was like, "Billy Piper, Carol McGiffin. Is it safe to say that you don't have a type?" Because one of them was beautiful pop star. One of them looked like a shoe on Loose Women. And he took his mic off, threw it down, and he went, "Get this little prick out of it." And they weren't allowed to use any of the interview.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
You basically fucking Ali G'd him.
He was so annoyed.
Wow.
He was like Spencer from The Ordinary Boys, just straight up. Oh, Preston, sorry.
Aye,
Preston,
Preston, aye. I remember
Yeah.
that. That
The
was the fucking
autobiography.
best thing ever.
He was so good. Simon Amster was so good
He was
on that one.
brilliant,
Just
wasn't
booting people's heads off. But just like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, Preston. That was like when everybody watched Big Brother, wasn't it? Like with that Chantel and because she was like the one normal one, and then the rest were celebs, and then obviously her and Preston ended up getting married and all that shit. But
Well, years ago, talking to Big Brother, this just sounds like I've met some people. There was one year, it was after the Shilpa Shetty year.
yeah,
Do you know when they had the celebrity one and it all
the
booted
racism
off?
scandal and all that?
So for
stuff,
one
yeah.
year, they didn't do Celebrity Big Brother. They did this thing called Celebrity Big Brother Takeover, something like that. Celebrity Takeover, and it was celebrities got to be Big Brother for a day. And what they would do is they'd pick some people between 18 and 21 who were doing well in their like chosen field.
Right.
And I had just done like my first acting job. I was still in drama school, but I did my first acting job. And they said, "Oh, there's a show. Do you want to come?" And they didn't tell you what it was. And you had all these like secret. You had to meet someone with like a purple umbrella because they didn't want like it was when like paparazzi were proper,
Yeah.
so they didn't want to know who was going into the thing.
Yeah.
And then I did like diary room interviews, like psychology tests, and then they offered me to go on it. I was going when I was still at drama school. I was like, oh, I don't know, you know. And then the school said they'd kick me out if I did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
because they were just like, "What do you want to be? Do you want to be an actor?" And I was like, I don't know.
So they were kind of like snobby about it.
Yeah.
Like don't go on that reality stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you should be doing
Yeah, reality
Shakespeare.
stars will never make it.
Although, because there was a tipping point, like after, you know, whenever it was, because everybody used to watch every year, and the people would all be
Yeah.
like actual celebrities after they'd been in it, and then it got to a point where you weren't, because who remembers like the last?
Think how many Big Brother contestants there's been. Oh, there's
Yeah.
probably been, I don't know, 500.
Yeah, probably.
You only remember the ones who put bottles up themselves or
Yeah.
who got a boner in some red shorts.
Aye, and that's only like the first few series as well.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
that kind of Jade Goody era, and all the like Craig and all these people. The
Yeah,
Bo
yeah.
Selecta era, basically, when it was
Yeah,
around
yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
And then I for then on, because they used to like go and they would host the big breakfast and all that sort of shit.
They'd be massive. Like
Yeah.
Craig, I remember once watching 60-minute Makeover when I was signing on, and he'd just be one of the builders in the background. I thought, this hasn't gone well, has it?
That is tough.
I think the best person, I don't know, out of like Big Brothers, who you think's done best, I'd say Alison Hammond.
Alison Hammond, yeah.
Oh, I
she's
forgot
She was
even
kicked
in
out
it.
second.
Wow.
Yeah.
was she?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
she's
yeah, but she was she's on like This Morning and all that now.
Yeah,
isn't she?
yeah. She's massive.
yeah.
I think she's
Can't
say
Don't,
that.
Brennan. Don't do it.
She'll be walking out and call me a prick like Chris Evans.
you ain't never watching telly again at this rate. Fucking hell.
There's a guy that lives near here that was in Big Brother.
yeah.
Remember Blind Mikey?
You always
Oh.
see him kicking about in Glasgow.
My mum used to get me to do impressions of him all the time.
Or when they get hit with the football or whatever.
No,
Yeah.
she'd get me to pretend I was eating a chili.
Oh, yeah.
There was a bit where he ate a chili and
The
he
Scotch bonnet.
and he was just sort of but he just kept doing this. And my mum would get a mate, so she'd go, "Do that." Do that blind guy.
Is that when you realised that he had a knack for acting, was it?
That's when I was like, I think I've got my first 5 minutes and covered it.
So you went to drama school?
Yeah.
How was that?
Well, it was weird. So I couldn't go to any of the London ones because they were mad expensive.
Uh-huh.
And then when you're 17, you go to like all these different ones. They charge you like 50 quid to audition. So I got in one in Glasgow, which is called the Royal Scottish Academy of
The Conservatoire or whatever.
Conservatoire.
Could be that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then one in Birmingham. And I was like, well, I don't want to move country. That's how young I was. So I was like, I'll go Birmingham. And it was great, but some of the worst people you've ever met.
Yeah.
Like one of my teachers just didn't know how to wear a top. He was just this old gay guy who wear leather waistcoats. And he just like, you could tell when he was enjoying it because he just sort of like, his finger would disappear behind the...
Man.
So he'd wear the waistcoat with
with nothing underneath.
Wow.
Yeah, David Vanny's dead now. But, but there was loads of bollocks with it. 3 years, like, they go, we did like 2 months of like animal studies where they tell you what animal you like and then you have to study the animal and be an animal.
Oh my, what animal did you?
I got a ferret. So bad that like people were getting sick once. So it was like gorilla, polar bear, ferret. What do you think you'd be?
Squirrel.
Yeah, you got squirrel energy.
I thought you were going to say cat.
A cat. I could be a cat.
You could be whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to believe in yourself.
What would you be?
I don't know. What would you say I would be?
Dog, probably.
A dog?
Kind of.
But like one of those like ones with the long necks.
Yeah, Great Dane.
Yeah, Great Dane.
I'll take that. That's good.
Yeah, loyal.
But would be assessed on it. Do you know when you go, how are you marking this?
Yeah. Well, what
Yeah.
did you do to study? Did you look up ferret Wikipedia and all that?
Ferret Wikipedia. I'd look at calendars. Just, oh yeah, ferret calendar. And then one day we got taken to, I want to say it was Longleat Zoo or Whipsnade Zoo, like a massive zoo.
Aye.
And you just had to sort of watch. Imagine going to a zoo and they're like, but you can only watch one animal. It was so shit. And then I got stuck in a hedge maze and got sunstroke.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is boring.
That's what a ferret would probably do. What did you do as a ferret?
Well, we used to have this like Russian 70-year-old ballet teacher. She was mad. I think she's still teaching there now. And she'd be like, so you'd be like crawling around, but in a pair of night joggers. And then she'd go, ferrets don't walk around on their knees. So you'd be doing like plank on your fingertips.
Wow.
And she used to have a stick and she'd hit people.
Sick.
And then I remember during the assessment, she'd do, like stack chairs and all that. And she's like, right, everyone wander around. So there's an alligator, a fucking flamingo, and a ferret just all in the same place, which should have ended in catastrophe.
Yeah.
And because I was so terrified of her, there was one bit where I was crawling under a chair and the stacked chair leg got caught in my pocket. And it was just, every time I moved, it was just pulling my pants down. But I could see her watching. And I was just thinking, well,
She's like, ferrets don't have pockets.
ferrets don't have pockets. Ferrets don't have pants. 3 years of that.
Wow.
Fucking hell.
Because there's like, I know you spoke about your comedy and all that, and just for knowing you as well, like, because, you know, growing up in Manchester and stuff, and there's a lot of laddie lads, and you weren't quite that.
Yeah, yeah.
So was that like drama school kind of like you finding your, like, you know,
People.
Yeah.
Well, I used to go to like youth theatre when I was young. So I went to an all boys school, but not like, do you know what, in rough areas where they want teenagers to stop shagging, so they have to put them in different schools.
right?
So near me, all the schools, there's very little mixed sex schools.
Right.
Because I think the teen pregnancy rate was so high that they were like, you over there, you
Interesting.
over there.
Right, well.
So I went to this one. It was pretty shocking, and they didn't do any drama, GCSE. The closest like creative thing was art.
Yeah.
So I used to go to like a thing every like Tuesday night and just hang about with girls. It was sick. It was so good because lads would be like, "Gay, you gay." And you're like, "What? This room full of women?
Yeah.
Gay?" But yeah, you all keep doing rugby. And then I knew I always wanted to do it because I acted from when I was like a kid. I was like a child actor.
What did you?
What were you at? Were you in stuff?
Yeah, because my brother was an actor And he was doing really well until he got a girl pregnant and then stopped all that.
He didn't go in all boys school.
It was when he got out. He was like 26 and he didn't leave school at 26, not that thick. And then he was doing really well. But when he was about 14, maybe 16, around that time, he was the lead in like a period drama on BBC.
Oh.
And they needed someone to play him like 10 years younger. And his agent was like, I'm 10 years younger. And he goes, oh, get him in. So I got the part because we look identical.
That's class.
Wow.
And then from there, my mum's like, make us the fucking money.
Yeah.
So I was in all sorts. I was in a Heartbeat.
No.
Were you?
Yeah. I got nonced in Heartbeat.
What age were you then?
6.
Oh my God, 6?
Yeah.
What a fucking dark show was that? I didn't realise it was that bad.
I got pinched off by this man. It was great because I was the only kid on set. So my mum was my chaperone. So we just got to live on set.
Wow.
And they had like an old, like not Victorian. It's not Victorian, is it? 60s, like fairground. So I just got to go on that every night. Me hanging out with like green grass.
Aye.
Yeah, that was the time. And the storyline was like a man's kid had, this is so dark for like a Sunday at 6.
Yeah.
Man's kid had died. That sounds like I'm proper ghetto. There was like, man's kid's died. a fella's kid had died, and he just wanted to be near another lad.
Oh.
So he
stole you.
So he stole me, took me up the moors, and then we flew a kite. I was from like a gypsy family or a traveller family.
But
Yeah,
it didn't shag you.
it was in the break, so you didn't see it.
So so did they find it? So did he end up getting arrested and all this stuff?
Yeah, so Nick Berry saved the day.
Wow.
And he rides up there on a moped and saves me to the tune of What Becomes of the Broken Hearted.
How much of the script did you understand? Did you just get, it's like, I guess it's like, oh, when the bad man takes you away, was that like the extent
I
of your...
think, like, I probably had very few lines.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, you just fly this kite while this man's got his arms around you.
But were you like, this is supposed to be weird, or were you like, oh, it's just a kind of friendly?
Yeah, I don't think I was like being scared. I just think I was like, oh, cool.
It's 6. 6 is so young. Like, do you even remember much about it?
I remember I tell you one thing I do remember, because I was mad on wrestling. That was like, I was fanatical about it when I was 6, which is the age that you should be. Although I've just started watching it again, which is weird. But there was like one TV in each room. Like, do you know when they used to do corner brackets on a big telly?
Yeah.
And but Nick Berry, because he was the star, he got control over what everyone were watching. And wrestling was on. So he had like the Sky remote, and wrestling was on. So I got put to bed and my mum's getting pissed with all, everyone in the show.
Sure.
I got to watch wrestling, and then one day it just turned over to like porn.
Fucking hell.
And I was like, how dare he? I didn't know what it was. I was just fuming because I was watching like Undertaker, and then suddenly there's just some like softcore porn, and Nick Berry's clearly bashing one out over it.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's like, so he's in his own trailer or whatever. And
Yeah,
it's
or he's
like,
in the
Oh,
hotel
so you're
room, yeah.
different rooms, but he's what?
Yeah,
he's
he
all
didn't
watching
come
the
in and
same
went,
telly.
oh, fucking get over it, it's not real. I'll show you what's real. And then
Bloody hell.
fucking
mad
hell.
that, yeah. And then I think I just enjoyed time off school. I sort of enjoyed when you're a kid and you get like a little bit of money. I think my mum was siphoning off some of the money.
Yeah.
So she'd get paid for a chaperone, but I was like, trying to think of things that I was doing.
Did you have to do your schoolwork in between takes and all that?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd have to guess you get like workbooks, and then my
Yeah.
mum, who worked in the school that I went to, she wasn't a teacher, but she was like, I think she dealt with like the naughty kids.
Right.
She'd make sure that I'd do the stuff.
Right.
And then, but you must have been thinking as well, like, oh, well, I don't fucking really need to do this because I'm going to be. I've already been in Heartbeat.
Yeah, literally. I was like walking around the fucking at dinner time, like Conor McGregor, just being like, "Have you been on the telly? You've not even been in the local paper, mate."
So see when you went to drama school then, because I guess it's like, so if you were maybe a wee bit soft compared to the sort of more lads in Manchester, but then it's probably the opposite way where then you're looking at all these people and they're too poncy when you get to drama school.
Well, it was like probably the first time that I've met like posh people.
Aye.
Because people come up from all over the world, and like there was like 18-year-olds who were married. And you go, what? Like really, really
Yeah.
posh. You know, when the parents have gone, he shall be a good suitor for you.
Yeah.
And then there was like mature students. So there's like 30-year-olds who I thought were like 70. But I was kind of I guess I was probably one of the like the scummier ones there. So people are like, whoa, he straightens his hair. He's got a bit of something about him. I'd just get in trouble all the time.
Aye.
Because I thought he was a big dick about.
Yeah.
So I just like missed classes. Because we used to have to do like ballet, tap dancing.
Wow.
We'd do like loads of physical stuff, like studying scripts. I was like, this is boring. I just want to pretend I'm sad.
Was there a lot of that, or was it mostly like pretending you're an animal? Was there a lot of?
There was a lot of that bullshit, and then in your third year, you get to do just like plays,
Right.
which was great because I just wanted to act. I didn't want to learn how to act.
Yeah,
and I was like mid-level. There were some people who were awesome, some people who were like, "How have you got in?" Like, there was one lad when we were doing the animal. It's like he's still a mate of mine, Mark Miller. Fuck, one of the thickest men I've ever met in my life. He's a captain of a yachts now, and you go like, what? How? How? But I remember he just didn't give a shit, and he goes when he was a bear, you just stand up and walk and go, oh, and then sit down because he's just hungover, and you go like, I want to be that. I want to be that.
And so I always feel a bit jealous of people who've had some kind of acting or performance background when they get into stand-up then, because I just always feel like, because I've never had any of that, and I just go like, it must help so much when you
I
get
think
in
it's
it.
mad when people have gone, I'm just going to go and stand on stage. Like, that was my like superpower, that I could stand on stage and feel fine. I had no jokes, but I could tell those no jokes really confidently.
Yeah.
Whereas like, when you did your first gigs, what had you ever been on stage?
No, really, like other than the odd thing.
Like assembly or something?
But I think I was more confident as a writer. I'd be like, I think if I can write this, and that was the only thing I was worried about my first gig, just remembering the stuff I'd wrote.
Yeah.
And I could go up and do it. And then, you just pick the stuff up from doing stand-up then, I guess, in terms of performance. But no, when I look at people like, and they're just really good at selling the stuff and just really like we act out, it's not, and I go, man.
Yeah,
I wish I'd been a wee.
But then
I wish I'd been doing ballet when I was fucking 10.
But then everyone thinks you're a bit of a prick. Like when I started in Manchester.
So how did you end up getting into stand-up?
So I left drama school and then had a couple of years of doing jobs.
Right.
Because it's so counterproductive. The teachers are going like, one of you might make it as a professional.
Wow.
Everyone's going, well, there's 40 of us. So what have we been doing for 3 years? And then for the first few years, I was literally
it's a bit like Big Brother, isn't it? There's only one.
I was like, I think it might be me. Not in like a cocky way, but I was like, I did a few good jobs.
Yeah.
And then it stopped. And I was like, oh shit, what do you do now? So I started signing on. And then I was like, I've got all this free time. And I'd always loved stand-up. Like, I was one of them comics.
Yeah.
You know, some people who are like 13, I remember seeing like a Lee Evans DVD or an Eddie Murphy. My brother used to go and watch him all the time. And I was like, what is this? It's like acting, but you can say shit. And then I'd go to the Frog and Bucket Comedy Club on a Monday and watch.
Yeah.
And see some of the horrors.
Yeah, because that's the Gong show.
Yeah.
Aye.
And it's just like anyone can go on. And there was an occasional good person. And then you go, oh, I want to be like that. And then you see some of the shockers. And I was like, I'm just going to, I think it was like my 24th birthday. And I was like, I'm going to sign up. So I signed up to 3 Gong shows. So I did the Preston Frog and Bucket, the Manchester Frog and Bucket, and the Manchester Comedy Store Gong all in a week.
Wow.
And then I won them all. And I was
Amazing.
like, oh my God, I might be the best stand-up ever. And then my 4th gig was in a snooker hall in Rochdale, where snooker was still going on behind a curtain. The owner had his own mic to heckle the acts. And I was dying that bad that I heard a snooker ball just gently brush against another one. I was like, fuck, I'm not good at stand-up. I'm so bad at stand-up.
Wow.
Where were your ones? I imagine you've talked about it, but
The stand.
Stand Red Raw.
do Red Raws.
Yeah.
See, I used to see that as like, I'm going to drive to go. Do you know when you do your first big drive?
Absolutely.
It's probably one of them.
Well, that's, I think for us, maybe it was going to Manchester Comedy Store to do the
Yeah,
Gong.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, you go, oh, here we
Or
go.
Darlington, maybe that was a bit of a drive for us.
That kind of, we would do a lot of those northeast
I
ones.
Did you guys start out together?
More or less, similar
Kinda,
time, aye. Similar time.
Like maybe 6 months or a year between.
Yeah.
Because I always think there's like, you find your gangs quite soon, don't you?
Yeah.
Because there was, again, some like mentals. There was a guy who used to rip off. Do you remember the boy with tape on his face?
Sure.
Yeah.
And there was another guy who was so bad. And then one day, like he was just doing normal stand up, but bad. And then one day he just turned up and he had gaffer tape on his face. And he was a bit creepy, so everyone called him the boy with rape on his face.
Oh my God.
And then he stopped quite soon.
Yeah. Because then, so why do you think that those gigs went so well? Do you think just your performance experience helped you through, and did you just put together a wee set and all that stuff?
Yeah, I practiced and practiced and practiced. And then I could like perform it, and I looked really young when I started. So I think everyone was like,
I'm so shocked that you were 24. I would have thought you'd have started much younger than that.
I would have been, I don't think I would have carried on doing stand up. Because if I did it when I was 18, I just wouldn't have had a clue. And if it went bad once, I would have binned it off.
Yeah.
Whereas
how long have you been going?
13 years.
Right, fine.
Yeah. Which is mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like nearly a third of my life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Isn't it?
Stood in shit green rooms / disabled toilets.
You always feel like, when you say 13, you go, I feel like it should be going better than anything.
Yeah. Or I think I should have more. I've done 4 or 5 shows. You go, surely over 13 years you should have more material.
I don't think so. I mean, doing 5 hours is like, that's a lot, man. You know?
Yeah. I guess if you think about it like bands with albums,
Aye.
you know, some of the biggest bands only have 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And somebody that's done 10 hours in 13 years, they're no all great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's like when you go up to Edinburgh and someone's got 6 shows and you're like, make it 1.
aye. And then you see they've not got a fucking 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But they've got 4 hours of material, you know, of Edinburgh shows or something. But no, that's and was Manchester good to start in then?
It was the best. Like if I started in London again, I think I would have been more asked about. Like it feels like everyone's a bit more careery there.
Yeah.
And maybe I'd be doing better now if I was in London. But at the time, I just enjoyed like getting a bunch of new mates. You know, the people that I started out with all seemed to be doing well. So Larry Dean started out when I was.
Yeah.
He was the worst. He's one of my best mates now, but he was.
Was he in Manchester?
He'd come quite a lot.
Oh,
yeah. And he'd just jump in the audience and would all be going, "What are you doing?"
Really?
And then one day just turned up and everyone goes, "Fucking hell, he's brilliant." It's just got really good really quick.
Because by the time I started, Larry was already.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
great,
You know.
Yeah.
And then it was like him, Pete Otway, Will Duggan was a few years before me.
Yeah.
Kiri Pritchard McLean started out when I started out maybe a year before.
Yeah.
So, and it felt like a Fern Brady. She was in Manchester.
Yeah, that's right, aye.
So it felt like there was a gang because you didn't want to be the shit one because we were all doing car shares. Do you know that when you're the worst one and you have to drive back and you're going, I think I might just get out of the services and walk.
Everyone else like, I was such a great audience, you lot.
and on those gigs as well, people will tell you. They'll go like, "Oh, you were great, not you. You were good." My favourite one I ever saw, a Pro Bill, only a couple of years ago, and I was doing the Comedy Store in London, and everyone had a good one, and someone just had one of them nights. It was just ropey, and they were a good comic, but it was just ropey night. And then afterwards, everyone was having a drink, sort of in the bar area, and there was a guy during the show who was this like American pilot who'd sort of been a feature of the show.
Yeah,
and he comes over at the end and he goes, "Guys, thank you so much. What a night! It was like $30. Like I can't believe. Like I need to show you my gratitude." And he pulls out this wad of cash. And it's just dollars. I don't know why it's dollars. Gives me $100, gives another act $100, you $100. And he looked at the act that was a bit ropey, rifle through and just give him 50. I'd rather have nothing.
that's funny.
That's amazing. Mind when we went down to the Manchester Comedy Store and you'd beat the gong and I was gonged off after like fucking 10 seconds or some shit.
It was one of those ones where it was like about 8 Scottish acts had went down that, and then it was
I was
the
like the last Scottish act on, and they were like, we can't be arsed.
Do you know what saved me when I did my first Gong show? Is I was on near the end and it was brutal.
Yeah.
I forget how brutal the King Gong is.
Really, yeah.
And I was just like, if I get to that microphone, I can just speak pretty rapidly. And I was just looking at the mic and I just tripped up on the step and just stacked it. And it bought me like 2 minutes because everyone was just going,
Yeah. And you just own it.
Yeah.
And then that's great. The maddest time ever, like in a similar thing to that, was I done the London one once, and there was a group of like lasses in for California that were sitting kind of like to the side of the stage, and so most of the crowd were looking at them. And I went on stage and started like speaking, and before I got to a punchline, everyone started laughing. And I'm like, what's going on? And you know what you always are like, is my fly down? Somebody behind me, what's going on? And I realised that all the audience were laughing at the faces of these Americans who were just like looking at each other like they had no idea what I was saying. And then so I try to interact with them and goes, all right, so you, and then I would like ask them, do you not understand? And then they didn't understand me saying that, and then the audience are laughing more, which is kind of would be funny just in a normal night, you know, you just need to deal with it, because there's these three people that can at any point put up cards.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying any jokes. So like you're trying to balance like getting through the 5 minutes but dealing with the situation, and like so I ended up getting the 5 minutes, but I didn't need any material. And then but the problem was you then need to go up at the end and do an extra minute.
do you?
And yeah, because if there's a couple of people, because there's only one person would win. So I went up and like my whole thing was I was like going to make the joke of like, well, this is pointless. And like, no, do it. And then like, I'd done that for about 40 seconds and they went, right, start the clock. No, that was my thing. I'm like,
That's my joke.
Do you not see what I'm doing here? Like, but then I lost to some woman that was about 60. I'm like, I can't, you know, I was raging.
Because I host sometimes Gong shows.
Yeah.
And I like it because it's good fun. I think it's like in that roast, like sort of joke. Do you know where you go, like, you can be a bit mean, but it's
not too mean that if somebody ends up making it, they don't have a vendetta against you.
Although I did one a few weeks ago in the northeast in like Middlesbrough. There was a guy from Scotland on, actually. You might maybe know the guy.
Who is it?
You don't know. I can't remember.
Let's not say the name anyway.
He was a big guy.
Right.
And he was fine, but he came on with quite a lot of confidence. And after a couple of minutes, they gonged him off. But they actually have a gong on stage, so they gonged him off. The guy looked at me. Like, give me the, because you sit on stage while it's on, gives me the dirtiest look. And he goes, I've had to fucking travel hours for this. And leaves. And then the audience are looking at me like it's my fault. And then I've just got a gobshite built into my head where I'll speak. And I was like, I don't know whether he's annoyed that he's been gonged off or he thought dinner was ready. And he popped his head back out, like just fuming.
Oh, wow.
By the time I was off stage, he'd gone. But he was fucking.
Do you get people like coming up to you afterwards and like if you've made comments about them? Yeah.
Or like sending you a message.
Really?
And going, well, it was my first time. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
if you want to be a comic, you'll have to keep doing it again and again and again.
I know. Well, that's it with the travel things. Well, welcome to comedy. Do you know what I mean? Travel for fucking 4 hours just to do 2 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
that's the job, innit, when you start out.
Yeah.
Because you get through that.
I think it's a weird, like, it's like when you start like secondary school or high school, when the year 11s will sort of initiate you into the school pretty quick. Did you ever do that thing at school where someone would just bring a football and they'd start booting the ball at people? Do you know when there'd just be someone, I'd be having a tuna butty and then I'd just get a ball in my head?
Yeah.
And like, you're at this school now.
Mikey for Big Brother knows all about that. He's just trying to enjoy his chili. What were we talking about there with comedy stuff again?
Gong show.
Gong shows and like that sort of...
it's like secondary school you were saying?
Yeah, and like being integrated into that where you go, right, well, you have to learn. That's what I liked about Manchester, where, and it's probably the same up here, where most people are doing it so you get better.
Yeah.
And then there's the occasional promoter who will do it because they got bullied at school.
Yeah.
I don't think they work in comedy anymore, so it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
I was interested in because like so see for there then you're doing Manchester circuit. So when's the first time you done an hour at the Fringe?
I did my first hour 2016.
I remember, did you know do that yacht in the
Yeah,
Three
yeah, yeah.
Sisters one year? Was that like the year before doing like a 45 or
Yeah.
something? I
It's weird
remember
'cause
you being in
everyone goes,
that.
"Oh, coward's hour." You go, if I had to say run a marathon, I reckon I might do a 10K, then a
Yeah.
half marathon.
No,
And that
Yeah.
It's also though because you like the thing is about because people go so for people listeners that don't know I suppose so you get your debut hour at the Fringe is like such a big thing and it's there's an award for it and stuff to be the best newcomer and all that stuff, so a lot of people will go and do, if you do 45 minutes you don't qualify for the hour, so you can go and do Edinburgh before you're quote unquote doing Edinburgh.
yeah.
And
It's
then
like doing your mocks.
so your prelims we would call it here I suppose.
Yeah.
But so you done that. But the other thing is as well, like you kind of need to wait, and this is the thing that because there's not really any industry in Scotland, like in the way that
Same
there
in
is in
Manchester,
London.
really.
It's
Yeah.
nobody really tells you about half the way it works and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, if you don't know and you just go and do your hour and then you've spunked it. But the smart way is to go and do a 45 until you're in the right position that you can maybe get
Did
PR.
you done
get
an
an
hour
agent.
quite early.
I
didn't
don't know. I pretended that hadn't happened, and because it was so under the radar, nobody knew it, and so I did
That's
my
great.
debut like 3 years later. Like no one get who cares now, but
But
like
how do they know? Do they keep like a?
I don't think they know as
they
much.
didn't know because I got to say, but then I mean it's like I still wasn't in the running for it. I don't know if they actually did know or whatever, but it was
Yeah,
Because I never found out about all, like when I doing your first one, especially when you know what's at stake, but you got like there's so much pressure when they go, oh, it's your debut out, so you should get PR, and you spend so much money on doing it, money that I didn't have, and you just sort of like, I didn't want to know if there was any reviewers in. I didn't want to know if there was any like judges in, because you're like, what are you going to do? Do the show more? Do more?
Exactly.
Do it more better? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But is that what you done? So like, see when you were doing that 45 and the wee yurt, like the wee, how would you describe a yurt?
It was called the
Just
yurt.
a little tent.
I
isn't it?
see,
It was called the yurt locker, actually.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
2 days I couldn't do it because it blew over.
because it's like literally in the fucking it's in the
courtyard?
courtyard of the Three Sisters, like
Yeah.
probably the most busy.
And I was at
Mental
maybe
place.
like, I think my show might have been at like R5.
Aye.
And every day at like 6, he'd be like, who wants to party? And I'm like, oh, my nan's died.
So by the time you done your debut, did you have an agent and all that kind of stuff by then?
Yeah, so I was going to quit in 2015. So I did, I got an agent. I did like the Pleasance Comedy Reserve. So sometimes what they do is they'll pick like, when you're newer, 4 people, they'll pay for you to go up.
Yeah.
And then they'll pay for your accommodation and you do like 15 minutes each.
Yeah.
So I did that.
Who
And
were
then-
you on with for that?
So I was on with, no one exists anymore.
Oh.
Chris Betts, who was like
Uh-huh.
a Canadian guy, he was really good.
Yeah.
Phil Gerard, who was he was such a good actor.
Yeah.
He died a few years ago.
It's a
And then
shame,
Evelyn Mock, who now lives in Sweden, I think.
Oh, right, aye.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they still exist.
2 of them do. Phil Gerard does it out.
I know. bloody
You
hell.
get these little badges that everyone wears. He was so great.
No, he was. I remember seeing him do a set at Edinburgh, and he was great. Aye.
So then I got an agent off that.
Yeah.
And then,
Because did you do any of the competitions on that?
yeah, I did actually. What did I do? I did like, I probably did them all. I did So You Think You're Funny. That's when I didn't know what you were doing properly. I did it. It was like the semi-final was my 7th gig.
Yeah.
And I was just going, what? And it was like people that had been going for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only advice that I got. And my 3rd gig, somebody said to me, Peter Kay didn't do So You Think You're Funny for like 6 years
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
But I wish somebody told me that about Edinburgh stuff, so I didn't do it for years.
In my year, I'm sure Ramesh Ranganathan won it. And you're like, he'd been going probably about 5 years.
Do you know the one I always remember was Leicester Square Theatre, and I was on with 2 people in a heat in the Leicester Square Theatre competition. I'll tell you, it was Sindhu V8 and Kay Curd, and Sindhu had a show in the brochure of the thing already, and Kay was like obviously really good as well. So
yeah.
I was just like, oh fuck off, like.
Yeah, mad. So I did that too early.
Yeah.
And it was fine. And then so I got this agent, and it was like they do acting and comedy. So I left my acting agent that I'd been with for years.
Yeah.
Joined that.
That guy that had the leather jacket. He's like, don't leave.
I got to buy some sleeves and a top to go underneath it. And then after a couple of months, I just couldn't get in touch with her. It's just couldn't get in touch with her.
Oh.
I was thinking, what's going on here?
Your agent?
Yeah. It was like ringing, and I was like, she's not in. I ring her again, she's not in. And it was around the time that like jonglers weren't paying that massive comedy club, that they just weren't paying people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was owed like $2,000.
Fuck's sake.
And I didn't have any, I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
So one day I was like, I'm going to go to London and just go to the agency. I turned up, and it's like massive agency, like building. And I walked in like I was in fucking Entourage. And I was like, I want to see my agent. And they were like, she's not in. And I was like, well, I'm going to go and see. Marched up, and this woman's like, you can't go in. And she was just sat there.
Fucking hell.
And she'd been robbing the money. She'd been pretending that jonglers weren't paying.
All right.
And then she goes, this isn't working out. You dropped. To my face. And I was literally like, I've just paid like 70 quid to come to London.
Oh my God.
So I remember ringing my mum, and I was like, I'm done with this. Because I'm maybe about 4 years in.
Yeah.
So you didn't get the money, and did you?
Didn't get the money. And I was just going like, oh, is this what it is? Is it just you get fucked over? Kind of a bit. I was like, I'm quitting. And so I went back home, and then the next day, I was still living at my mum's.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't even get on like the English Comedian of the Year heats.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get on any gigs or anything. And then there was a dropout in somewhere like Nottingham. And mum was like, go and do it. And I was like, no, I'm quitting. She was like, go and do it. What else are you doing tonight? So I borrowed my mum's car, went, and then I won English Comedian of the Year. And then I got an agent off the back of it. So I was like, oh, that kept me in the game.
Yeah.
So then when I was going 2016 to do my thing, like that's kind of how I knew you get this PR. And you get some posters, and you know.
Yeah, you play the game.
You play the game, yeah.
exactly.
Which is not really my vibe.
Yeah.
But I think when there's 10 grand at stake,
Absolutely.
it's suddenly become my vibe quite quick.
100%.
So I just worked that hard. I did it in Australia. Like,
Yeah.
first day, didn't really. I took a guitar to Australia because that's how little jokes I had. I was playing fucking songs. And I was like, what? Not even comedy songs. I was like,
Just
another
covers.
turning point.
That's funny. I seen you. Did you do? Was it the Melbourne Gala or something? I was watching it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is that how was that?
Weird.
Was
So
it?
that was the year after that was probably off the back of being nominated.
Aye, because I was going to say because you got nominated that year. There.
Yeah. It's funny how your comedy friends who you come up with don't take it that great. It just went weird.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What do you
When
mean?
people get jealous or whatever.
Yeah. Like we were all coming down from, we'd all decided it was like the day the nominations were going to come out. So a bunch of us all went up to Arthur's seat, and then we would come down.
The last place you can get a phone reception.
Yeah. And as I'm coming down, my phone's going, missed call, missed call, missed call. So I sort of broke off from the group because we were all doing our debuts.
Yeah.
And I rung my agent, and she's like, you've been nominated. And they all just sort of turned around like, I was like, some just went, people were crying.
Really?
People fell out.
Wow.
It's not my fault your show was shit. Mad.
What year was that you got nominated?
2016.
Right, okay. So was that your debut? Is this
Yeah,
the
yeah.
newcomer?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
With Michelle Wolf was nominated this year.
Wow.
And that's another one, do you know where you go?
Yeah.
I think the same year she did the president's thing.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not
Yeah.
new.
That's
Yeah, because
crazy.
she was like supporting Louis
I
C.K.
know. I remember seeing her in the Loft Bar actually. Aye. That year, that was mad. Who won it that year?
This Scottish guy.
Richard Gadd.
No,
He won the main
no,
award.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Oh, right, okay. Sure. Fair enough. Well,
They should
he
have
no
to-
longer doesn't exist.
Yeah,
he doesn't exist.
Maybe it's me. Welcome to the last ever Some Laugh podcast.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I went over to Melbourne, and I was like, I remember seeing all those like little clips, on YouTube of people doing it in like 2010, and
This is the gala thing.
Yeah. got asked to do it, and it was like the worst. It was the worst timing ever. So I was flying. This sounds like a fucking. This is going to be my next Edinburgh show. It's not. So I was flying out on like the Sunday. On the Friday night, my girlfriend who I was living with at the time, my ex, she broke up with me
Oh,
because she found out I was cheating on her.
right.
It's a good reason.
I was like, can you just charge this Australian phone? And he just had.
It's good to see you're
loads
so remorseful about it, Brennan.
And then on the Saturday, my nan died. Just out the blue. Well, she was old, so not that out of the blue. But, and I was like a nan kid where I'd stay with my nan on the weekends.
Aye. Was that a self-fulfilling prophecy after you're talking about that in your 45-minute show 3 years before?
She did the comedy reserve, so she was. And then on the Sunday, I had to fly to Melbourne, and I just didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'd never been for a breakup, dead close to me now, and I was just going, I don't want to do it. So then my brother physically had to. Like, well, I was just did like stupid. Didn't know how to deal with how sad I felt. So I tried to drive my car. I tried to crash my car so I didn't have to go. I don't know if you've ever tried to crash a car on purpose. It's fucking well hard.
Yeah, can
It was on a roundabout, and I'm just like, you try and get people, and they move out of the way, and I'm like, fuck.
So you went to crash into someone else?
Yeah. It's well hard to do. It's so hard to do.
You could probably crash into a wall or something.
Yeah, but that feels. I didn't want to end it. I just wanted to hurt my knee.
Wow.
So my brother had to put, because my mum was going, they've paid for this.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big opportunity. And I'm like, yeah. So my brother had to put me on a plane. Got to.
Good thing you never get let in the cockpit.
Crashing into other.
They wouldn't even let me in the telephone to do the Tannoy announcement. And then I got to Melbourne. At this point, I hadn't slept since like Friday. And this is now like Tuesday, and I'm fucking wired.
Yeah.
And then I had to go and film that, and I don't remember it because I was just so out of it. I just knew I had to do like 4 minutes. So it was weird because it was the first telly thing I'd ever recorded for like stand-up.
Yeah.
And I'm around all these like amazing, you know, like, who was on? It was like David O'Doherty was there, and Hannah Gadsby was on just before me, and I was just like, fuck, okay. And then I just wanted to go home, but I couldn't go home.
Yeah.
And then they put you in these amazing flats in like the centre of Melbourne, and like, do you know, like hired apartments? And on a weekend, it wasn't even a week. It was just must have been midweek. Someone was having a party next door, and I was like, if I go and kick off, they'll beat me up. I'll get sent home. And I'm literally I knock on this door, and these like 20-year-old lads are like, what? I'm like, I look like shit. I'm like, turn the fucking music down now. I'm gonna kick your head in. And they went, yeah, sorry. I was like, no, this is not what I wanted. And then it just got a few days in, and the people at the Melbourne Festival, it's because it's run by women, were like, he needs to go home.
Yeah.
So they sent me home, and they said I can come back next year, and then Ian Sterling replaced me.
Wow.
Because he was going to be out there anyway, so he just come a few weeks earlier.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
That's amazing.
So it's kind of good. That's a good sub, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like they got, right, I don't know. Because it was like Ahir Shah and Steve Pajaya and me and Emma City, and it was like, and I was just like, oh, fuck this.
What the hell?
And then I didn't gig for 6 months.
Really?
So it was just like,
because of the breakup?
Just moved into my mum's. It was just like sad.
Wow. Because I seen your show a few years ago at the Fringe, and it was kind of, I don't know whether it was about that specific relationship or something else, but it was the kind of 500 Days of Summer themed
Was it about
show.
that? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it?
That's so interesting. Because there was like, because I remember seeing that, and you had the carpet. And there was a guy, there was like
a band,
a band.
That was more expensive than I thought. Didn't you be like, oh, that'll be pretty cool?
You should have told Phil Ellis before he done it this year. How did you feel about that show then? Because I remember seeing it, and it was like it was I suppose similar to 500 Days of Summer, was the kind of idea meant to be like it's a bit ambiguous as to the real story or something like that.
Yeah. So it had like a false ending, but it was. Well, there was 2 reasons. That girl was mad at me.
Right.
For obvious reasons.
So I don't remember you saying that you cheated on her in the show.
So that was the false ending where it sounded like she'd done it to me. So everyone goes, oh. And then there was a false ending where like loads of music, and it's like, and then I was like, but like the sort of shows always sound shit when you have to like audio describe it, but it's like, I was like, but it's not like, life's not like those films.
Yes.
It was me, and then the audience. Someone was. I remember one day, this woman who had been to see like me in the year, me do my first few. So that was like my 3rd show.
Yeah,
and she just went, you prick.
Wow.
And he was going like, it was me. I was the one in the wrong.
Yeah.
And I remember just getting messages. How dare you do a show about me? How dare you do this? How dare you? Like, I was like, didn't do a show about. I'd never mentioned her. She did a different name. It's like, it's just made up.
Yeah. You weren't doing the baby reindeer mistake of saying it was a
Fuck,
true story.
Jesus Christ. That's a nightmare, that, isn't it?
I know, fucking hell. Like, I just glad she never ended up on fucking Piers Morgan, your ex.
I mean, give her a chance, she would.
Because I remember, the thing I remember about that show was that there was a bit in it and you were talking about how you were trying to tell her that you loved her.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was like, and then something happened and then it was like, you didn't need to say it for a year later.
Yeah.
How much of that was true versus like, or was it more like you're kind of like doing that thing as you say where you're not telling the true story because the things about you're the
it's
the
weird, isn't
kind of
it?
thing?
I think there was a debate a couple of months ago with the American comic Hassan Minhaj.
Yes,
who I like. His first show I thought was great, and then the show after that was all right. But there was people going, "You didn't tell the truth."
Yeah,
and he goes, "Well, I told the emotional truth."
Mm-hmm.
And there's that weird debate around: are you doing like a documentary, or is it a show?
Yeah.
So there's always like
Artistic license, really.
Yeah, I
isn't
think
it?
so.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot. As long as you're not, I think the thing with Hassan Minhaj is he said that he got some anthrax sent to his house.
Yeah, and it was like
and his daughter had opened
saying
it.
that he'd been the victim of like racist abuse and this and that, and then it turns out that the specific stories weren't actually true.
Right.
Which is as murky, I would say, at best.
Yeah,
you know?
because if you're selling something like that, then
Yeah.
I think that's different to an emotional truth.
Yeah,
That's
to go,
like-
no, some guy said this to me in a pub. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just
Or you go like,
whatever.
oh, it might have been a month where I didn't say I love you. But you make it a year to raise the stakes. of it.
Right, sure.
I can't actually remember. I remember it being a big deal. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'd never told anyone that I loved them.
Yeah.
Because do you remember the first time you ever told someone, not like a parent,
yeah, like
but like, do you remember telling? Feels a bit.
Never done
you've
it.
never never
Don't think so.
No.
Really?
Probably not. No.
Same.
No, not. Well, that's what the wedding's for.
I kind of remember it. I think Catherine said it to me first, and then I didn't hear her, so I was like, "What?"
No.
And then she was like, "Doesn't matter." And then
Doesn't matter.
but I didn't know. I genuinely didn't know what she said. And then like months later, she was like, "You remember when I said that?" And you said what? And it was like I genuinely didn't know though. And then we
I
said
guess
it.
if someone's.
See if you say that at the wedding. Do you, Steve Buchanan, take this to be your lawfully welded wife?
What?
What?
What was that?
That doesn't matter.
But have you ever been on the brink of doing it?
I probably felt like I probably should say it, and then
Yeah, but I don't think you should say it
unrequited.
if you don't think it.
I've not been in that long relationship,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it would be, But I guess a lot of people do say it quite quickly.
Some people
you
do
know.
it a bit too soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been on a couple of dates, like a date with a couple of times with the same person, and you go, "Can you chill the fuck out?"
Yeah.
But I think the older that you get, people are just clinging on to anything. They're like, "You've got a credit rating." Like, I love it.
Yeah, I
Been
understand
in
that.
heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's always it's on my Tinder profile. It's a picture of me as a 6-year-old boy being nonced.
I think it says a lot about your credibility, Brennan, that you never had as seen on Heartbeat in your Fringe posters.
I think I did one year, and I was in it so briefly, as in for about a minute. I had a scene on Skins when I was like, I think I was doing like a split bill with, or maybe 3 of us,
Aye.
and it was like, do you know you've got no quotes or
Yeah, totally,
credits? So I was
aye.
like,
Yeah, use
I might
what
get
you-
someone
So
in
you were in Skins?
really briefly.
What were you doing?
Well,
Buying drugs
Oh.
off what's he called? What's the actor
Like,
called?
God, this guy that get nonced is not taking it well. Yeah, slide under a slippery slope.
He's jumped 50 years into the future and he's still buying drugs.
was it like the early series or was it?
It was the last series when they brought some of the old one, like they told
Oh,
individual
yeah.
stories of some of them. So it was the guy
Cook.
played. It was off him,
Was it?
and
He's quite big, isn't he?
yeah, and he was sound as well. But it was like they wanted 3 people that looked like old Skins cast members, but like young versions. And again, because I look so young, I was older than him, getting in and being like, "Can I have some drugs?" And then that's splashed all over a poster.
Yeah.
I would do
I
that as
love
well.
it when people do that though, when they just bend a quote or they.
That's what I.
Well,
yeah.
we've spoken about this a lot
Oh,
in
yeah.
here, but so Steve, when he done the Scottish Comedian of the Year competition,
And you won, didn't you?
Yeah, not this year though.
This was like the first time you'd entered or whatever, but it was like got to the final and so at the time Steve had this bit about Made in Chelsea.
No, it was the.
No, right, so no, but that was the bit. So you
Oh,
had
yeah.
he was debating whether he had this bit about Made in Chelsea. It was more his tried and tested stuff at the time. And I was telling you, we met up and you're going over your set, and I was telling him, do the bit you know, but you had another bit you're excited
I
about.
wanted to do a new bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, this has got more to it. Like the Made in Chelsea bit's
It's
not
more
that,
you, and it's yeah.
And it was just about me being a ping pong ball in an Iron Brew advert, right?
He's literally in it for like a second.
Like 1 second, I was putting that in my post, and then the bit didn't work obviously because I'd tried it once,
Yeah.
and it was shite. And then Steve Bennett wrote like it wasn't a good set or whatever, but at least he's a ping pong ball in an advert, so his career's going places. So I just used careers going places.
His career's going places. We used that on our split bills for like about 4 years.
I remember
Still the best quote he's ever given me.
I had one off him years ago, and it was
Turns out he was right as well. There you go.
it was like again in my first 10 gigs, I was doing like the Beat the Frog World Series final,
Yeah.
and I won. People were furious, but
Why were they furious?
because I wasn't very good,
Right.
but I was just very likable.
You were a crowd pleaser.
I was a crowd, and literally Steve Bennett went, a triumph. Isn't it mad how these things stick in your head?
Yeah.
I can't remember some of my nephew and niece's names. a triumph of performance over content, basically being like, yeah, you can move around.
Wow.
For years, I had a triumph of performance.
End of sentence.
Yeah.
dot. You don't.
Stu and Marc here with a quick couple of plugs before we let you get back to the episode. I am doing my show Love That For Me, last year's Fringe show at the Soho Theatre, prestigious Soho Theatre
Prestigious, you know.
in London.
Many people
Soho.
say it's my dream to gig at the Soho Theatre.
Let's say I've said that in the past, and now it's my dream coming true. And my dream is for some listeners to come out to that. So if you are in London, please come out and support me. I'm looking forward to doing the show 2 final times there, 1st and 2nd of July.
Yes. Well, it's always been my dream to once again play the Blue Lamp in Aberdeen, and that's where I'll be on the 12th of July. Celebrate the Battle of the Boyne by coming to Aberdeen, the only other place where it's not celebrated that well.
The prestigious Blue Lamp.
The prestigious Blue Lamp. Well, it's got an actual blue lamp outside of it, and it's got a Mancunian's lager.
Is that a selling point?
It's got a Mancunian's lager
Yeah,
sign,
it's
which
a good sign, it's
I
cool.
like that sign.
Yeah.
It's I always like to see that. So if you'd like to,
Nothing but love for the Blue Lamp in Aberdeen.
yeah, it's a great room. And please do come along. It's a preview of my upcoming Fringe show, and of course myself and Stuart are both doing full runs at the Edinburgh Festival this year as well. Tickets are on sale now, and we'll hopefully see you there.
Yes, love to see listeners at the live shows, don't we?
Yes, we do. We've got some Laugh Live as well. We'll have probably plugged
True.
earlier in the ep, and Steve's got some a couple of dates as well
Work in
during
progress
the
shows.
Fringe if you'd like to see him.
Other than
as
that,
well.
please join the Patreon. That's
And-
what keeps us in trousers.
Yes.
And there's plenty extra content over there. You got a new episodes once every 2 weeks, and there's hundreds of them on there now for you to
Aye.
go back and enjoy. And early
That's
dibs
meant
on
to be in
future
the middle of the
tickets.
episodes. We've probably said this already, but it's
All
worth,
right, well, let's do it
listen,
again.
It's worth reminding. It's worth
It
reminding
bears
you.
repeating. I'm imagining everyone signed up anyway at the beginning, so
Yes.
you're off the hook. But
Yeah.
thanks
And
to
if
everyone
you've
that has.
skipped through that first bit, this is what you fucking get.
Yeah, this is because of people like me who always skip the start of a podcast and then get caught out in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no escape.
That's it. No escape. But there is escape now because this is the end of the plug. And enjoy the rest of the
Enjoy.
episode.
The episode. Thanks, guys.
Have you ever taken one out of context?
No, not really. Like, as you know, it's the ones that have been bad have been pretty. They've not gave me any room for it, and the ones that have been alright, there's a few nice ones that you use sometimes. You know.
Oh, I've had some shockers.
Oh, aye.
Yeah. I remember there's a reviewer called Jay Richardson,
Yeah.
who I just don't think. I don't know what I did to him. I must have done something. He just doesn't. He's not a fan.
Right.
And he came to see that show about the breakup, and he said, I remember I made because I could do like Photoshop. I made a thing and put it on Twitter and tagged him in because of all the shit quotes. He was like something like 2 stars, and it was things like, "I'm desperate. I'm borderline racist and homophobic." I'm like, I don't know what bit that was.
Wow.
And it was like, "This is a tool that deserves to be lonely." And I made this awesome graphic and
Wow.
tagged him in. And he deleted me, blocked me on Twitter.
Did he
Fucking
really?
hell, amazing.
That would be a good Tinder profile. Imagine something like that on your Jorto, Scotsman. one.
Yeah, and it's been
Wow.
published.
Yeah. And did you think? Because I think I remember that. And did they know what? Did you say kind of just misunderstood the concept of the
I
show?
think so. Or like, I guess it, like, if you're watching 5 shows a day,
Yeah.
you're like, fucking hell, someone
Yeah.
else talking about Tinder or
I know.
whatever it is. Or, I've met people who have got like punchable faces, and to me, I might be one of them guys. Like,
Yeah.
he just goes, "Oh, mate, who are you?" Because I would have been, when was it? 2018, I would have done that show. So that's like 8 years ago. So like 29, just being like
Yeah.
T4 presenter, like, yeah. And he probably would have gone, "Can you just fucking take your skinny jeans off and give it a rest?"
Yeah, I know. But then you've went on since you'd done live at the Apollo as
Yeah,
well. Was
oh,
that
yeah.
when was that you done? Was that same year or was that?
Yeah, that was that year.
Oh wow!
Because I found out about it the day before Edinburgh.
Wow.
And they were like, "You can't tell anyone." And I was like, "What?"
when every single person who would care is going to be
Yeah.
there for the month.
Yeah. Because usually you would do the Fringe to kind of get these people to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
your
yeah.
show so you'd get booked and
Yeah.
you already knew about that.
So I kind of had a really enjoyable Edinburgh that year because I was like, I get to do that in a month.
Yeah.
And were you thinking about what bits you were going to do for it?
A little bit,
during
yeah. Like, because they asked me to do a few, like, they were like, "Oh, we'd quite like you to do this and that." And I was like, "Oh, I don't really do that bit," but they're like, "We'd like you to do it." So I was like, "Okay." And then, just trying to do any spots. But it just felt like, because you always at the back of your mind, you might go like, "Oh, I hope I get to do that one day."
Yeah.
But I wasn't like going, "I will be doing that."
Mm.
And I was like, "Fuck, no one can take that off you, can they?" Like,
Absolutely.
Once you got that little profile picture of like with
Yeah,
all the lights in the
the
background,
lights, yeah.
and it was awesome. I got to invite like my mum and dad, all my mates. It was like 20 people. And then as soon as we'd done, we fucked off to the pub. It was awesome.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it
That's
was really
class.
cool.
Was the crowd just great? I take it for it. And
Yeah, and I
Aye.
think doing the circuit for years, and also doing like lots of tour support. You're like, because I'd done the Apollo before,
oh, had you?
I'd already done it, so I'd done it badly.
But just played the room.
Yeah,
not the show.
I'm not
Aye.
not done the TV show.
Uh-huh.
So a few days after being nominated in 2016, Live Nation, who took me up, they were like, "Do you want to support Nick Offerman?
Oh,
Do you know, from Parks and
Yeah,
Rec? And
yeah.
he's in fucking everything now." I was like, "Yeah," and they're like, "It's 40 minutes." And I'm like,
40 minutes
Yeah.
support?
wow.
and it was 2 shows, and there wasn't. I didn't even get introduced onto the stage. I just had to walk on.
Cold.
I
I
just
just
the same amount of time you done in the fucking yacht.
Just do the
Let's
Fringe
run
show.
off, get my guitar. And I just didn't know what to, because not everyone sat down. People are wondering about. I just look like a tech staff that's got really confident. And then I was dying in the first show that bad that I just did a cartwheel just to try and get like some noise out of him.
It was a triumph of performance.
And then I did it again when I was doing Joe Lycett's supports.
Aye.
So I got to do it a few times. So I was like, I know this gig.
Yeah.
So I felt quite comfortable. And then I was like, and I can do 25 minutes, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I was like, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, instead, because sometimes now, I mean, loads of older circuit acts moan about it, but like some acts get you really soon in. Like, like someone who I think's awesome, like Liam Farrelly, he
Yeah.
must have been
Yeah.
3 years in.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's great. And I imagine he smashed it because he's very good at comedy.
Yeah.
But like, if I got you 3 years in, it would have been an absolute waste of
Yeah,
time.
same,
Yeah, same.
absolutely.
And it's weird how people then see you different in the industry.
when you've done it.
Yeah, like the next day it was like, do you want to do this show? Do you want? And you go, I've not got any better. I've
Aye.
actually just burnt all my good stuff. So I then got to do stuff, and then you go, like, oh, maybe I'm a
Yeah.
telecomic, which was probably the saddest couple of years of my life when I was doing all the telly stuff, because then it gets like competitive, and I think like comedy and sport and the people that you're spending time with, instead of like people like yourselves, where you go like, oh, I think people on the circuit all have an understanding where you go, we've all come up through the same way.
Yeah.
With all our good gigs, with all our bad gigs, we can all smash a club gig. And then sometimes you're on with like very like Londony people, and everyone's going, what job have you got next? What do you do? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't really my vibe.
Kind of dick measuring contest
Yeah.
sort of thing. A wee
Yeah.
bit.
And you just
yeah.
feel like well out your depth.
I know. But then that's where it's harder in these environments to do this. But like that's where you try and remind yourself what it's all about, and it's really about your acting, about playing to the audience and all that. But you know, it's like you're in a green room. I mean, that is probably how I felt when I met you that first time in Hartlepool, and I'm like, oh god, this guy's doing Top Gear with Lad Bible, and I'm like, still working a call centre. Do you know what I mean? But it's hard not to get intimidated by that thing.
Well, it just
you know?
knocks you off your stride then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you do combine it to sport. Do you know, like when someone gets brought on through the youth academy and it's their first like match, and they're just going, oh fucking hell, that's Kevin De Bruyne, or that's
Yeah.
Well, apparently, I always remember hearing like Craig Bellamy when he played for Celtic, like him and Chris Sutton and all that. They would always, like when they played like Dundee or something, they'd always be like, get a motor you've got and all that, and like saying, do you want some money and all that? Like they would just wind them up about how they were like obviously so much more
Dundee
rich
players.
to like the players for the smaller teams.
That's shit.
And like, but it's like obviously a pure mental.
Yeah.
But that's like it's the
Yeah,
same
getting in
thing
their
of like,
heads.
my God, this guy's been to a World Cup, or this guy's done this or that.
Yeah.
And then as you say, I've just come through the fucking academy here. And then
Yeah, I've not even got a name on FIFA.
I have a generic face.
For Man Blue. And I just don't think that's what it's about. And I think, you know, everyone starts doing comedy for their own reasons, but I do it because I think it's I'd love it. And you go, some people do it because it's like a sidestep into acting, or they want to do
Presenting or whatever, yeah. And what other telly stuff did you do around that time then?
So I did Roast Battle.
Uh-huh.
I
Who did you go against?
Kiri Pritchard McLean.
Oh.
Yeah, it was good. I loved it because I think roast comedy is awesome.
Yeah, I do like
but like
it.
there was some jokes that I recorded and they just didn't.
Is that right?
Yeah, because they were just brutal.
Wow.
And then what else did I do? I did a couple of panel shows. I did Celeb Coach Trip,
Oh,
which
right,
was awesome.
that sounds.
It was like 3 week holiday. It was the year that I didn't do Edinburgh 2019. Just had a 3 week holiday, and I'm like with Blue and Mr Motivator.
Did you know?
Me and Stephen Bailey were the like. No one knew we came on, so they have like 5 couples. If you've never seen it, it's like 5 couples on a coach, celebrities in inverted commas.
Hey, don't say that about Mr Motivator, right? There's no inverted commas behind. I used to watch him come on this morning.
Yeah.
I'm fanatical about Mr Motivator when I was a kid. Do you know when like some kids just see a thing and they love it?
Yeah.
I used to have a unitard. My dad made me black up. No. So I'd have all the gear, the bum bag, everything. I met him. He was a bit of a knob.
Oh, no.
He was a little perv.
Well, motivation only lasts so long.
Yeah. You can do it for an hour a day and that's
He
it.
was Mr Motivated.
They have 5 couples on from like reality shows and all this stuff. And then every so often people get voted off and more people will come on. And me and Stephen Bailey, who's another great actor, and we've known each other since before comedy.
Yeah.
We went on and no one knew who we were. So much so that they thought that they'd put 2 regular people on as a joke.
Like
You were the Chantel.
We were Chantel.
Dressed as like that. Film me once.
So, but it was, you just do like 2 activities a day and then move to another place. So we were doing like bungee jump. You do bungee jump and make a paella. Next day, you'd learn a can and play football, golf.
Wow.
And it was great.
Where did you sleep?
So you drive on the coach and then you just wherever you are in the hotel.
Was the coach a drag or was it all right? I suppose if you're staying in
It
places,
was fine because you weren't doing like massive
No.
like they weren't doing massive journeys, and also you were filming during it.
Yeah.
So they'd play like a game, or they'd go, Anthony Costa, do you want to sing All Rise again? And he'd go, yeah, okay.
No way, was he singing it on the bus?
Yeah.
No way.
Every fucking day. I went to a wedding recently and Simon from Blue was there. It was 2 people that met on coach trip and they got married. His wedding gift was him singing 2 songs.
Oh, fucking hell, man.
That's good,
amazing. Yeah, amazing.
Imagine turning up to your wedding and he goes, I'm going to do my first 5.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Hey guys, this one at the Comedy Store, Gong and Frog and Bucket, okay? Your treat.
There's a bunch of American girls. You recreate the whole thing.
5 minutes of no material. How do you expect me to want this if you can't understand me? You know,
But they're the bits where you go, like, you can get like sidetracked by it where you go in, this is mint, this.
Yeah.
But it's not the job it's not the job.
it's
Yeah.
not comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's showbiz, sure,
Yeah.
telly, and it's that, you know, but it's not. You
And
know,
everyone's
Yeah.
so when you see people like that, because there's not, you either get people who are on the up or people who are on the down. There's no one who's like at their peak.
Yeah.
And it's just a bit like, gets a bit desperate.
Yeah.
So like whenever I probably shouldn't say this, but we're here now, is like whenever someone would come on from like a reality show like Strictly or Dancing on Ice, you'd see like Anthony Costa being like, oh, I wonder if they can get me on the show. And it's a bit like, mate,
Oh, man.
surely you've got some property
Yeah.
money.
You'd hope so, man.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Did Blue have the same agents as you used to have? You know your money. They probably not been paid by junglers.
And it's mad as well when you see all those people and you go, like, when you meet like Mr Motivator and there was a guy from like, I think maybe like Blue Peter, and you're like, I was a kid and watched you on telly.
Yeah.
And now we're I don't know, like,
Going to Butlins.
yeah, we're going to Butlins.
But it is weird that, isn't it? When you meet people like you knew or you'd seen on telly when you're young, and then you're just like, how is life this like
Yeah.
Yeah.
mad that this happens, you know? But
Because
That's-
if out of comedy, like if you take comedy out of it, is there a thing that, like, if you had to be on a reality show, what one would you want to do?
a reality one. I've just always said I'd like to go on Pointless with my dad because my dad loves it and he's pure shite at it, and I think it's just for funny. Have you done
No, never
Pointless,
done
the
it.
celebrity one?
No.
Because I don't think it's because sometimes you can still go on as a not. I was like, if I want to go on there, I need to get on the celebrity one. I can't be on there with the normal folk. Do you know what I mean?
Especially if it's a double record day, you see Raymond Means walk past you, but you little.
Yeah, it's top of the top, baby. Oh,
Yeah.
fucking hell.
Pointless would be good. I would like that. The Chase.
A reality
The
one.
Chase would
Would
be
you
good.
count? Do you count these as reality shows?
No.
They're like
yes,
game
they're game
shows.
shows, aren't they?
I'd love to go on the just to see.
Yeah.
Do you know first dates I would do?
Yeah.
I do like genuinely love that show. Though I've heard like you know about because Tom Houghton went on it, didn't he?
And Luke Conran.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
She went on the hotel one where you go on holiday.
Aye, first dates hotel.
And she wouldn't mind me telling this, but she just on one of the first dates, because I think you do 2. She just ate some like bad food, and then on the second one, she's like, I can't stop shitting.
Oh my god! Do you know what? I'm so happy about that because I know Lou, and when we were in Australia together, we went to a Korean barbecue thing where you need to cook it at your you've got a wee sort of grill thing at the table, and I was like pure confused. And she's like, it's chicken, Mark, it's chicken. And I'm like, see, oh, fucking, there you go. That's what you get. She's probably getting overconfident in that fucking first date show. Serves you right, Luke, on that. Right? And sorry, Eddie Brimson, don't bar me. But no, that's funny. No, I think first dates. What about you? Would you like to go on?
What would be a good one? The jungle would be fun.
Yeah.
Because you're just like in an environment that you'd never do, or like
Aye, with Boy
Yeah.
George or whatever.
Anthony Costa pops up for a bush. Or like, do you know one of them? I think I'd be shit at it, but like The Island with Bear Grylls, or like the SAS one.
Oh,
I'd be so bad at them though.
What's the one that you have to get about and you get like they're chasing you and you have to just kind of
Hunted.
Yeah, that would be good.
that would be cool.
Oh, I remember once saying it was so. Luckily, I'm friends with him, and there was an act, I'm not going to say an act who had not really been on the telly that much. And they kept like tweeting The Hunted, being like, yeah, if there's a celebrity version, you know where I am. Week after, that celebrity version, you know where I am. And I just replied like an absolute prick. And I was like, you'd be sick on Celebrity Hunted because no one knows who the fuck you are. Oh, no. Hunted would be like, I think those experienced ones, like, I've got asked to do a few, like, I got asked to go on Celebs Go Dating. And I was like, I can't have my nephews watching me snog a woman on the telly. Can't do that.
But is that how far? Does it go that far to a snog on Celebs Go Dating? I've known.
Yeah, that's week 2. Week 3's fingering, and then it gets well out of control if you make it to the final.
With heartbeat in reverse.
What sort of celebrities are on that? Anthony Costa, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Celebs Go Dating. That's a bit. That's a wee
Maybe
bit
a laugh.
sad, isn't
It's
it?
usually Towie people and all that. Isn't it?
Yeah. But like to even being on like Love Island and all, like you just got be amazing because imagine going on it as a comic, you'd be sick on it as well.
But you're just so out of shape compared to everybody else.
But you got time.
I know. I can. If I, you
Do
know,
the winter one.
But I know. But then
Are
the
you in
thing
good
is,
shape?
Nah, I know. But then you're like, ugh. You would see how unattractive you were compared to actual good-looking people if you know.
But you'd have some like because they get massive followings. And you'd just be able to tour.
I'd love to.
Like just massive tour.
I'd love to do it. I would love to do it for the following would be good. And it's your core demographic of
I think you
audience.
should have. How old are you?
33. That's
you're
too
well
old, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have to go on like.
I should have asked Ian when he was on the other week if
Yeah.
we
How
could
do you
pull a few
get?
strings.
But I think you could still go on it.
No. You'd be more likely going it than me.
Not now.
Right, lose a bit of weight and then
I'll be able to go on as twins.
how have you? Because I've had this as well where I'm a bit up and down with weight and stuff. So how do you like? Do you think I'll get back in shape and then I'll
I've
be?
got to. I can't be like fat.
Because
40.
that's like that Melbourne YouTube. Like you're so. Like, I mean, you look dead young in it, but
Yeah,
you're like stick
skinny.
thin and all that.
It was
as
the
well.
lockdown, and I don't drink anymore. So I've replaced that with like Deliveroo.
Yeah.
And I've just been like, occasionally, do you know, like when you do a gig and they'll take a picture of you, I look like a fucking pebble.
I know.
I'm like, oh, that is so bad. And then people tweet when, say, the Comedy Store put a poster up and they just pick whatever pictures.
Yeah.
They're picking pictures from like 2014 and people are messaging me, it's not you, get that poster down, it's false advertising. I go, it's not me. But I just, even for my own sanity, I don't want to be like ripped or anything, and I don't want to look like I used to because I'll never be that skinny again. But I don't want to.
Yeah.
I think it
so you can
spirals.
just wear a shirt
Yeah.
and button
I
it
don't-
up.
I don't-
rather than
I
this.
don't-
That's what this is. I'm sweating in here. Just to cover up tits.
I know,
That's all it is.
Listen, I know the game well about that. Absolutely. No, that's funny. But it's funny you say that about everything being dead competitive and telly and stuff, because I suppose there is only so many spots going for those type of things as well. But I think the thing, and obviously the Northwest is a great example of this, like where people have like started doing loads of stuff off their own back, and there's a really good scene there. And
But
like
it's like the same here. It's like here, Belfast, and like the Northwest. Everyone's just gone, fuck it, should we?
just do their own thing.
Like imagine, I don't know, before the pandemic and you were doing a podcast and you're like, yeah, we get to sell out that pavilion and we get to do, solo shows in like the Kings or wherever. You would have thought you were mad.
I know. No, it's been crazy, and you forget that sometimes. I think but it's really cool.
And then you get to do the job, like you get to do the job instead of going,
yeah.
do I want to be on Dancing on Ice? Not really.
Speak for yourself, Brennan. I'm between them.
Not since they got rid of Philip Schofield, I'll never go on it.
Celebs go skating. Hey, if you're looking for it. No, but it's funny because I had a wee bit of I had a couple of videos go viral in about 2019, and but I used to still just go to London and all that and try and get seen, and I got an agent for a bit, and I was about to go and do the whole 2020 was going to go and do the Edinburgh run with the PR and this and that, and obviously never happened. And then, but even in 2019, it was already it felt a wee bit awkward to me because all the stuff that I was sold out the run in like a wee 40-seater at the stand, but you know,
Well, like to sell out a run is
but it was all off
a
back
win.
of Facebook videos. But then you're kind of like almost feeling like, you know, it's that way, like it was that tried and tested path that everyone went down with Edinburgh, and you were still going, "Oh, I try and go on this," but it was already becoming clear that this other thing was
completely
possible.
changed.
But
Even
now-
like from when I did 26, there was no one who was going viral in 2016
No.
and selling out a run, like even before they got there.
Yeah.
Now people are turning up, doing their debuts, and they're like, "Yeah, sold out a 150-seater every day." You're like,
Yeah.
"Sick."
I know.
Yeah.
And I think the pandemic really sort of, because when it was like a sort of canyon of like, you couldn't do live stuff. So the only thing was online. And after that, it's really showed everybody that that's the way. So it's, no, it's been good. But that's like, and I've seen, because you put out your hour, it was a crowd work special as well.
It was sort of half and half. So it was a sneaky story,
Yeah.
but it was half to do with the crowd and half to. So it wasn't like lots of like, what's your name, where you're from,
Aye.
but people had to like fill out, had these different questions on all the chairs where it's like, tell me a secret you've never told anyone, something you've always wanted to try, a pivotal thing from your adolescence, and people would really reveal stuff. The best place, I did 2 shows at the stand, the best ones.
In Glasgow.
Just fucking off. Like, people were nuts, and it was like 4 o'clock on a Saturday. And people were like, "Yeah, I had a threesome with my brother." And you're like, "What?" It was so good. So it was around that, and then I'd have stories that would lead, and then there was a reason why all the questions were there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, and that's the thing now, isn't it? Where loads of people would have gone to Edinburgh, done a show, and then it just, after Edinburgh, it doesn't
That's
exist.
it. Yeah.
And now you go, "Oh, I've got to put a bit of money into doing it," but you film it and then put it out, and other people will see it, hopefully. And
It
yeah.
can reach a bigger audience than, you know, would ever have seen it otherwise.
Totally.
You know, for
Yeah,
sure. Absolutely.
Definitely. And
Wait.
sorry.
Go on.
I'm just going to say that it's out on YouTube that people can watch that
YouTube.com.
right now. We'll put it in
Ever
the
heard of it?
description below.
www.
https:// And what's next for you then, Brennan? I know you're back in the Fringe. And
So I'm
then...
going to start writing a show, do the Fringe, and then I'll take that on tour.
Brilliant.
And then just, what else am I doing? Going to start, I think I'm probably the only comedian that's never had a podcast.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you've not had one
Yeah.
before.
So
What are you going to do? Would you get an idea?
there's a few people, so it's just me, Mr Motivator, Anthony Costa, revealing people's secrets.
I feel, you know, what I love about their podcast, it just feels like you're on the coach with them.
It's called Fake Coach. None of us have brought our wallet. We'll have to shag that little ball man for it.
No, that's great, man. Well, listen, thanks a lot for joining us, Ben.
Yeah,
and
thank
where,
you.
where can people find you online as well? What's your...
Just Instagram. So all I'm on, I got rid of Twitter. So it's just at Brennan Reece.
At
That's-
Brennan
yeah.
Reece. Excellent. And do check out that old episode of The Heartbeat as well if you can find it on, it's on ITV Player or whatever.
And it is, you know.
Later on all the time, man. But no, great, man. Well, listen, before we go, please remember just to like and subscribe. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you can follow us at SomeLaughPod on Instagram, TikTok and Twitter, and send any questions you've got to the email address, which is somelaughpod@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and we'll speak to you very soon.
Cheers.
Cheers, Brennan.
That was great.
Thanks a
That
lot,
was
man.
great.